Hello, hello, hello. We are live. We are live. So, as I start all of my lives, I'll give you a few moments to log on. Someone has logged on. Who do we have? Where's Miss Antoinette? You are normally the first person on my live, and I don't see your comment. Where are you, Miss Antoinette? But welcome, welcome, welcome. So I'm going to wait just a few minutes before I get started. Actually, today I don't have a lot that I have to get started with, so to speak, because this live is all about you. You can ask me anything, anything. So drop your questions below. Drop your questions below. But before we get started, who do we have on? Y'all know I like to know who we have on. Okay, Linnea, thank you for your question. Um, Porosity. Let's see. I'm not going to answer the question yet. I just want you to drop the questions below. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to start answering. But I am going to read them. Natural for type dry hair porosity, medium density hair moisturize. Okay. Definitely get that question a lot about moisturizing the hair. So while you are dropping questions below, I have my little what I call my little lab, I guess, over here. And I realized I forgot something. So while you are logging on, I am going to jump up for one moment so that I can grab something. I will be right back. All righty. Okay, welcome. Oh, got more questions about curl definition. Let's see. You all drop your questions below. Drop your questions below. I see more people are logging in. What products can you use? So it's 7:03. It's still kind of early. So while people are dropping the questions below, I am going to get up yet again and grab a few more things so that I can have a few more items that I can show you. Dale, I know you asked me about products you can use to moisturize and define your curls. So while we're waiting for people to log in, why don't you tell me what your hair texture is so that I can answer your question specific to you? But while people are logging on, I'm going to get up yet again and I am going to grab some more things. Um, Okay, so y'all keep those questions coming. Hey, Miss Antoinette, I am so glad you're here. I wanted you to know, Miss Antoinette, I did this for you. This is the topic that you requested. Can we just ask you anything? So I am so glad that you are here, Miss Antoinette. This is for you. So make sure you ask me something. It's 7:04, guys. I see the questions are coming in. And because of the type of questions, I have a few things around my house that's literally right in arm's reach that I'm going to get up and I'm going to grab them so that when I start answering the questions, I can show you some of my props. If you all can see what my lab looks like, AKA my living room, I have things like all around me. This is so exciting. Yay. So it's 7:05. I'm going to start answering questions in about 3 minutes. So I'm going to grab a few more things so that I can properly answer the question. So I will be back yet again. All right. Let's see that. All right. Okay, I am back again. Let's see. All right. Questions, questions, questions. All right, let them come. Okay, all right. Hey, Tom. Yes, I am. I am still making that product, Tom. I can definitely talk about that as well. Yep, I'm making it and it's on my website. Thank you. All right, so let me go ahead and get started. It's 7:06. I'm sure other people will pop on. But whatever questions you have, just drop them below and we'll get started. Okay. All right. And I sent out an email as well. So in the email, I asked people to send me their questions. And I have some questions that people emailed me too. So between the comments here and the email, I'll make sure I answer everyone's questions. So I'm going to go down the list. At some point, I'll stop and answer some of the email questions, but I want to make sure I answer everyone's questions. So welcome everyone. Thank you for tuning in yet again to the my On the Couch with Karen or On the Couch with Curl House for today. I am Karen Flowers. I am a licensed cosmetologist, meaning I specialize in hair loss, and I am a certified wait a minute, hold on. I got that wrong. I'm a certified trichologist, meaning I specialize in hair loss and scalp disorders, and I'm a licensed cosmetologist. And I also specialize in natural hair. So I am in the Richmond area. I am the maker of the Curl House product line, which is really geared toward hair restoration, healthy scalp. And I am a retired hairstylist. I do not style hair anymore. But on tonight, like I said, I just want to answer some of your questions. Normally I come prepared with a topic. I don't have a topic tonight. And I want to make sure that I answer your questions. So let's see. I see a lot of questions here. Hi, Lonnie. Thanks for joining in. All right. First question is about moisture. Some of the questions are similar. So we have a question, the best way to keep natural 4 type hair, high porosity, medium density hair moisturized. That's a question. And then another question related to moisturizing the hair. I think somebody said, hair is like a Brillo pad when dry and does not hold moisture. So I get that question quite a bit around moisture and how to moisturize the hair. So in general, in terms of moisturizing the hair, the first thing that I want you to recognize and know that your natural hair is naturally dry. So the dryness that you are experiencing, that is normal because of our curl pattern. Our scalp produces moisture or sebum at the scalp, and because our hair is curly, that sebum can't travel down the curved hair strand, making our hair dry. So what to do about it? The number one thing to do about moisture is to apply a water-based product or water. The only thing that can keep your hair moisturized is water. I know a lot of people say, oh my gosh, Karen, water dries my hair out. Water doesn't dry your hair out. You spray water in your hair and it may evaporate, but it does not dry your hair out. Your hair craves moisture. And the only way you can get moisture is from water or water-based product, not from oil. Oil does not moisturize your hair. Yes, oil lubricates the hair. Oil softens the hair, but your hair needs water or products that contain water. So there are a ton of products out on the line that moisturize the hair. Now, what I want you to look for in terms of products are products that contain humectants in them. So if you look at the back of a product, it's not going to say humectant. It's not going to say that, but you have to know what humectants are. I am going to do a live where we talk all about products, but humectants in general are ingredients that help your hair to draw and retain moisture. Help your hair draw and retain moisture. So one of my favorites is glycerin. Glycerin, vegetable glycerin. It's found in many products, but it's important to look for a product where the glycerin is found in like the first 5 ingredients. First 5 ingredients really dictates how much or how concentrated the ingredient is in the product line. So Your moisturizer should contain water as the first ingredient, a humectant as a second ingredient. Another type of ingredient is you got glycerin, and then you have like aloe. It's a great humectant as well. Another one that's really, really great humectant is honey. So you will find products that have honey in them. I tried a moisturizer by TGIN. Thank God I'm natural. And it's called Honey something. And you would think, honey, can I put honey on my hair? Isn't that thick and gooey and gross? And one of my clients brought it in, and I was super excited to try it. And it was fabulous. It is a honey-based moisturizer. It contains honey. It didn't build up on the scalp. My client's hair was super, super moisturized. That's a humectant. So that means, again, an ingredient that helps your hair to retain moisture. So when you're thinking about moisture, it is very, very important that you put water-based products in your hair. I want to go back to glycerin because glycerin is one of my favorites. Glycerin is the main ingredient that is found in KY jelly. KY jelly is a lubricant, glycerin in water, and it is a lubricant. So that's why glycerin is in KY jelly. You might find it in lotions for lubrication, and you find it in a lot of cosmetic products. So glycerin, if you don't want to go out and buy something to keep your hair moisturized, you can take water. You can go get vegetable glycerin. You can order it online now. Make sure it's vegetable glycerin. You can actually order it online. You can take my general formula that I recommend is about 80% water, 20% glycerin. Now, if you feel like the hair is too gooey with that concentration, you can reduce the amount of glycerin in the product, and you can take it and spray it in your hair daily. So in addition to that, if you have super, super dry hair, the types of moisturizers that are going to be best for you are the thicker ones, the more concentrated ones, the ones that really, the thicker, creamy ones. I don't have one over here that have the glycerin in it. One of my favorites is by Design Essentials. It's called Daily Moisturizing Lotion. It's just one of my favorites. I love it for my hair, and it really, really hydrates the hair. Then there are lighter moisturizers or leave-in conditioners. The moisturizer or leave-in conditioner that I have with Curl House, it is a very lightweight leave-in conditioner. It's in a spray bottle. You can spray it every day. It is great for moisture, but it's very, very lightweight. If you have super, super dry hair, you can use a lightweight leave-in conditioner or moisturizer, but I typically recommend that you use something a little thicker. So the best way in terms of moisturizing your hair, when your hair is high porosity, it high porosity hair tends to, I wish I would have grabbed my sponges, but high porosity hair, what it does, it takes in moisture and then it releases it just as quickly. So again, it takes in moisture and then it releases it just as quickly. The hair type that in terms of being in a safe area, low and medium porosity is what's recommended. When you get over to high porosity hair, it does take a little more work to keep your hair moisturized. So it's important that you do deep treatments, deep conditioning treatments. When you have high porosity hair, you want to get in as much moisture as possible. High porosity hair, it's deep conditioning treatments, one, and then two, you need to add more protein treatments. So protein, again, high porosity, your hair takes up moisture and it releases it. Your hair can become high porosity if you are put a chemical in it, but I'm sure you are natural. But if someone has a relaxer, for example, the hair instantly becomes high porosity. If you have permanent color in your hair, high porosity. If you're flat ironing your hair a lot, high porosity. If you're doing a lot of combing and just doing a lot of manipulation to the hair over time, it may become high porosity. So another thing that you can incorporate into your hair regimen is to do a protein treatment from time to time. Protein helps to coat the hair strand. So high porosity hair, if you were to look at, I'm looking at the blinds in my house, low or medium porosity hair, think about blinds. Think about the blinds being closed, okay? For low and medium porosity hair. For high porosity hair, think about blinds being open. So with the blind being open, the blind represents the cuticle layer of hair or the outer layer of hair. When that blind or cuticle layer is open, it's going to take in more moisture, but it's going to release it. So if you're doing a protein treatment will help to fill in the cracks or tears in that cuticle layer to give it more strength so that you're not taking in as much moisture. So for those of you who have high porosity hair, incorporate more protein treatments into your regimen. And when you're doing your moisturizing treatments, then make sure that you are using a thicker, creamier moisturizer that has high humectants in them as well. And make sure you are coating your hair with an oil after you moisturize your hair. This is the example that I did at some point. I don't know if you can see this. This kind of represents what sealing in moisture looks like. So if this is your hair strand, I have a lot of things tonight that's going to represent the hair strand, a whole bunch of stuff, y'all. Okay, so this is moisture. So you're putting your moisturizer on your hair first, and then you're coating it with an oil. Can you see that? So you have that oil layer that's trapping the moisture in your hair, and that's what you want to do. You want to trap the moisture in your hair. Also, deep conditioning. I talked about that last week, even for you, Dale, because I know you said your hair is dry like a Brillo pad. Love the example. And the hair doesn't hold moisture. So you're going to need to put more moisturizers and do more deep conditioners. So if you feel like your hair is just dry, do more deep conditioners. That was the topic last week. Deep conditioners are awesome. Deep conditioners are meant to penetrate into the hair shaft. The conditioner penetrates into the hair shaft on the inside, as opposed to a regular conditioner coats the outside of the hair strand. A deep conditioner gets on the inside of the hair strand, conditioning the hair from the inside out. So they'll get in the habit of doing deep conditioners every week. And somebody asked a question about the steam treatment. So that goes hand in hand with the deep conditioner. Between the two, you have a deep conditioner, you have a hooded dryer, and you have a steamer. So last week I asked the question, which one is better? So the steamer gives moist air or moist heat, and a hooded dryer is dry heat. Which one do you think is better? The one that is better is the moist steam treatment from a steamer. It's better. So think about a steamer and a hooded dryer as sisters. They're very, very similar. If you do not have a hooded dryer, it's fine. You can put a cap on your head, and you can wrap your hair up with a hot towel. If you don't have a steamer, you can take a very hot shower. There's steam that way. But I do recommend a steam treatment or a deep condition or a hooded dryer, whichever one you have. If you used a hooded dryer, put a plastic cap on. You still get similar effects, but the steam treatment between the two, that moist heat, is better than the dry heat. Definitely do it once a week. You can do a deep treatment once a week. You can do a steam treatment once a week. Once a week or every time you wash your hair. So if it's every 10 days, do it every 10 days if you don't wash your hair every 10 days. So I really encourage you all who are having moisture issues to absolutely treat your hair with a deep conditioner. With our natural hair, we wear a lot of protective styles. We keep our hair in hairstyles for 2 weeks, 1 month, and our hair is not getting the daily moisture. I feel like people who don't put moisturizer in their hair daily, even if it's something like a leave-in conditioner that you have at home and you're missing it in your hair, that helps with the day-to-day hydration of the hair. So people who do not, from what I've experienced, people who are not putting that daily moisturizer in their hair is very, very dry. So that's what I want to recommend. More deep treatments once a week, or steam treatments. Deep treatments with a hooded dryer and a plastic cap, or a steamer once a week or every 10 days. Get in the habit of doing that. You'll be amazed at how it will help your hair. Okay, let's see. I want to, I'm talking about, I'm going to answer a question now because I said other people sent me questions. So I'm gonna go to the next question. You all can still drop your questions below. I promise you, I'm gonna get through all of them. Somebody sent me a question that said, hi, I have low porosity hair that is very fine. When I do protective styles, I have a ball of hair in my hand. When I take out my braids of any sort, my hair, or even a twist out, when I get blowouts, I can't oil my hair right away because it weighs it down. Do you have any suggestions for protective styles without excessive shedding, or tips for best natural hairstyle? So in terms of protective styles, and this particular person that had questions about her shedding when she takes her braids out, generally speaking, she didn't indicate how often she braids her hair or how often she keeps the braids in. But let's just say, for example, she leaves them in for a month. Your hair sheds every single day. Every single day. Your hair sheds every single day. With our natural hair, unlike relaxed hair, when the hair sheds, a lot of times you may not see the shed hair until you wash your hair. Or if you're touching your hair every day, you may pull some of that shed hair out. But when the hair sheds, it kind of stays within the hair shaft because of our hair texture. It depends on the texture in general. Tighter textured hair, the hair definitely stays in more than looser textured hair. But the hair sheds every single day. That is normal. So a lot of people, when they braid their hair or keep their hair in a protective style, they take it out and they're like, oh my gosh, my hair is falling out. My hair's been in for a month. I'm taking it out and my hair is falling out. It seems like all the hair is coming out. Well, no, that's not what's happening. The hair is, let me clarify, if the hair is healthy, what you are experiencing is normal shedding. But you're getting, as opposed to the person who washes their hair once a week and gets a certain amount of shedding, compared to the person who washes the hair once a month. So you have a month's worth of shed hair caught up in those braids. So when you take the braids out, a month's worth of hair comes out for or 6 weeks or 8 weeks. Hair sheds anywhere from 50 to 150 strands per day, depending on the person. That's a lot of hair. Y'all know when it comes to hair, I'm kind of weird. These are the things that excite me. But I have been collecting all of my shed hair. Let me see if y'all can see this. I don't know if you can see this. Okay, there we go. This is the amount of hair that I have shed for the year. So yes, I am collecting it. These are the weird things I do because I'm fascinated with hair. And it's a lot of hair. Okay. It's what, 5 months into the year? It looks like a lot of hair, but look, I have far more hair on my head than I do in this container. So again, just in general, for the person who asked the question, don't be afraid if you're wearing a protective style and the hair comes out, because that is just the month or 2 months worth of shed hair that came out every day, coming out all at one time. For the person who asked that question, if you wash your hair every 2 days, you'll notice you may have a little bit of hair come out. If you wash it in 7 days, you have more. If you wash it in 2 months, that's even more hair. So if your hair is healthy, the shedding is normal. Now, something else that happens when when our hair is in braids or protective styles, for example, we tend not to moisturize our hair. We don't do anything to it. It's like a convenience style, which is cool, the convenience of the style. But what I ask my clients is convenient at what cost? So if you get braids and you do nothing to your hair for a month, you don't spray any moisturizer in it, you don't spray any oil on it, you don't do anything to your scalp, then what you may be experiencing is shedding and breaking. Breakage due to dry hair. Our hair is dry. It's already highly susceptible to breaking anyway. But if you're not doing anything to your hair, if it's in braids and you do nothing to it, then you run the risk of your hair drying out and it's breaking off. So what I recommend, when you are in braids, you can still take a water-based leave-in conditioner and still hydrate your hair 2 or 3 times a week. Give your hair some moisture, even if it's in braids. In terms of different types of protective styles, there are countless protective styles. Protective styles are it's hairstyles, and once the style is done, you don't have to do anything to it. They're low manipulation styles. You can do braids. I like crochet braids for braids because crochet braids, your hair is cornrowed and you can pull up and extensions are added on to each cornrow. And you can actually go in your scalp, access your scalp, and you can still spray your hair and cleanse your scalp. So my personal favorite is crochet braids. I like knotless braids because knotless braids is not as much tension on the scalp because the knotless braids, the braid, you don't start to add the hair until you come off the scalp. So it's just not as much tension and and you'll be least like in that type of braid, it's least likely to lead to hair loss. Um, you can do two-strand twists as a protective style without any hair added. So protective style doesn't mean you have to add weave. You can do comb coils, for example, and keep comb coils in for a few weeks and do nothing to the hair. Comb coils are fabulous, and it all depends on the texture. But comb coils, two-strand twists, you can do amazing updos. You can do a braided updo and put crochet braids in the top for protective styles. The best protective styles are those that don't put tension on your edges and those that do not, those that allow you to access your hair so that you can spray some moisturizer in your hair. Crochet braids, braids that hang down, updos, for example, you can do that. Now, when you're doing styles, particularly without the hair added, you also have to be careful because too much moisture, too much water will also cause your hairstyle won't last as long. So be mindful of that. Okay, there's a question about curl definition. So in terms of what products can you use to moisturize and define your curls, moisturize your hair, Dale, I've already talked about that. One of my favorites is the Design Essentials Daily Moisturizing Lotion, which is a creamier lotion. It's a thicker lotion. So whenever you're enhancing your curls, there are countless products that you can use. I've grabbed a few depending on your hair texture. So when you are defining the curl, you are using some type of curl enhancing product to enhance your curl. And there are different levels to curl enhancing products. I just pulled some. There is this Design Essential Almond and Avocado Mousse. This gives a very light hold. This is great for people with fine hair. Actually, the person that sent me a question about her fine hair, if she wants to do curl definition, you can use a very light mousse. Light because it doesn't give a strong hold. Your hair is still very flowy, but it doesn't hold as much. Then you can use curl enhancing gels, for example. These are a few that I grabbed. I have a ton, y'all. I'll give you a few other recommendations. This is the one, Coconut and Manoi Curl Defining Gel. This is also by Design Essentials. What I like about this product is it does not give a hard hold and it's full of glycerin. So glycerin is that ingredient that I told you is what? A humectant. And humectant does what? Helps your hair to draw and retain moisture. So this one, the curl defining jelly, will actually give your hair moisture as well. And then they have another level, the honey curl forming custard. This is one, this gives more hold. So curl enhancing creams and gels have ingredients in it that are that help to, they're called film, oh my gosh, it's escaping me, film formers. And it helps to kind of clump the hair together to give you that definition. I have on my YouTube channel, you all, I have videos on moisturizing the hair. I have YouTube videos on how to define the curls too. If you want to know how to do it, you can go to my YouTube channel and I have videos on all of that at Karen of Curl House on YouTube. But so other gels that I like, Uncle Funky's Daughter Curling Magic. That's a great gel to enhance the curl. I like Kinky Curly. Kinky Curly gives great results. All of these gels, it just depends on what result you're looking for. These are great gels to help to define the curl. Not all curls are the same. So whenever you use a curl enhancing product, never expect your hair to look like somebody else's hair. It's only going to look like your hair. A curl enhancing gel or curl enhancing cream or curl enhancing mousse will only enhance what you already have. It's not going to give you what you don't have. So go to my YouTube channel, look at the videos that I have on curl definition. I know I have at least 2 videos. Okay, Laura wants to know, I have bleach in my hair. I would like to change my color so I can make it darker. So I guess with your bleached hair is lighter, I'm presuming. The easiest thing that you can do, you do not have to put, excuse me, because the hair is already bleached, it's already lifted. So it's easier to go darker than it is to go lighter. So over that bleached hair, because the hair is already stripped, bleached hair would be an example of that high porosity hair. So it's going to be important that you make sure you keep your hair moisturized with bleached hair. I recommend that if you want to change the color, of course, you can go to a salon, but you can get a demi-permanent. You do not need a permanent color when you have bleach now, because it's easy to go dark. So depending on what color you want to go, you can get a demi-permanent. It has a very low peroxide level. So you want to stay away from putting a lot of chemical over chemical. You want to do it the healthiest way. And the healthiest way would be to at least use that demi-permanent. A rinse, like a Clairol rinse, will help, because with that high porosity hair, that in what I described, had the cuticle layer or outer layer of the hair is open. That rinse will, the rinse will attach to that hair, but a rinse doesn't last as long. So it's much easier to go darker because it's already bleached. Depending on what color you want, I recommend a demi-permanent. Of course, you can go to the hair salon, or you can, if you want to do it yourself, you can definitely get it yourself at a supply store. But with that bleached hair, make sure that you are make sure that you are doing a deep conditioning treatment to your hair with the bleach. So a demi-permanent for you. Hi, Miss Evelyn. Hi. Let's see. Uh, Loose cannon, as I already said, yes, the growth drops are still, I'm still making them. Thank you for everyone who participated in my Mother's Day sale. It was awesome. They were just on sale. They will be on sale again. But yes, Tom, they are on the website. How often do you get a trim? A trim is the general rule of thumb. General rule of thumb for trim is to get a trim about 3 times a year, or once a season, so to speak. So it varies from person to person, but a trim, if you're getting a preventive trim, you're only just trimming off just a little bit. You're not cutting off inches. So the ends of your hair is the oldest part of your hair. So with the old, it's just, this is old hair. So because it's old hair, it just needs to be trimmed. You know, the ends of the hair is the hair that's been on your hair the longest. It is the hair that has been exposed to the sun, to your hair products, to manipulation, to twisting and retwisting in the brush and the comb. So they just get weak and they tend to break off. And if you do not trim your hair, your split ends will continue to go up your hair shaft. So it's best that I recommend do a maintenance trim about 3 times a year, depending on your texture. People with coarser hair, from my experience, will get trims more often because the hair is naturally coarser and tighter curl pattern, excuse me, drier, because the tighter the curl pattern, the drier the hair, the harder it is for sebum to go from your scalp to the ends of the hair, just making them drier. So dry ends is highly, highly susceptible to breaking. So I recommend a trim regularly, about 3 times a year. Okay. Let's see. Lanaya, I need you to clarify, especially for women going through menopause or perimenopause. I'm not exactly sure. Oh, we got some questions, what that means, but I do have a question. Somebody did send me a question about, let's see, somebody did send me a question about menopause. So let's see. I'm going to read the question. I have had relaxed hair my entire life, and I enjoy the convenience of relaxed hair. I have my hair professionally styled weekly. I am perimenopause and taking hormone replacements. I have noticed some thinning and breakage at the crown. Is your recommendation to stop relaxers until the breakage is resolved? Also, I have maternal family history of thinning hair and paternal history of male pattern baldness. Am I doomed to have thin or balding hair as I age? So the first question is about hair thinning because this person is perimenopause, so she's taking hormone replacements. So when you're going through menopause, that means hormones are changing, right? There's a hormone imbalance. So menopause for women means that in terms of our estrogen levels and progesterone start to decrease. And estrogen is several hormones, but estrogen is one of those hormones that causes your hair to grow. And it keeps your hair in that growing cycle with estrogen. When you're going through menopause, that starts to decrease. The estrogen in your body starts to decrease. Now, women, we also have testosterone as well, not as much as men, but when that estrogen and progesterone decreases, the testosterone doesn't necessarily increase, but in terms of the ratio between estrogen and testosterone, it's less estrogen, so therefore more testosterone, and that is part of what will cause your hair to start thinning out during menopause. So during menopause, when you're going through that, this particular person is taking hormone replacements. It's going to take time for the hormones to be balanced again. So if you are going through perimenopausal and you're losing hair during that time, there are many things that you can do. One of the things one of the things that you can do in terms of what you can do when you're going through menopause, for this person in particular, she said she has thinning and breakage at the crown, and that is hormonal. It's estrogenic hair loss due to the lower estrogen in the body. She's on the hormone replacement. Me and I don't hormone replacement. There are natural, I don't know what type of hormone replacement, but there's synthetic and it's natural types of hormone replacements that you can consider. You definitely want to eat more estrogen rich food. So it's something that you have to, I always take this full body, I always take a full body approach to dealing with hair loss. So the first thing you want to do is look inside to see what's going on within your body. Are there any deficiencies within your body? Any nutrient deficiencies, for example? Like, I'm all about, I'm plant-based now, but generally speaking, healthy eating, drinking your water, eating healthy. If you are going through that, there are some other things that you can do until the body stabilizes. So the question is, well, hold on. Let me go back to that question. But when the body stabilizes, hormonal hair loss does not have to be permanent at all. And usually, if a woman is dealing with hormonal hair loss, she rarely goes bald as a result of hormonal hair loss. When your body is going through this process, it takes the body time to stabilize. So during that process, that is a form of androgenetic alopecia because it's androgen related. So with androgen, because I said we have some level of testosterone in our body, androgenetic alopecia, when in men and in women, has everything to do with testosterone or dihydrotestosterone attaching to the hair follicle, putting the hair follicle in a resting phase, causing the hair follicle to shrink. So she said, is she doomed to have thin or balding hair as I age? No, you're not doomed to have thinning or balding hair as you age because your family members may have it. That doesn't necessarily mean you are going to have it, but it is something that you have to be mindful of. It's genetic, so that means it may be in your genes, but it doesn't necessarily mean just because it's in your genes, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get it. So just because dad might have diabetes, that doesn't mean you're going to have diabetes. You may be predispositioned to it, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have it. So one of the things, if it is in your family, if you may be prone to getting it, it's something that you have to start treating now, not when symptoms show up. You treat it, of course, with lifestyle. I'm going to talk about lifestyle. Also, you treat it with proper scalp care. And there are some things that you can do, particularly for this person. Another thing that I recommend, which is not a product, but this is something that I've talked about. This is called a hair max. This is a laser. So laser max, it helps to increase blood circulation. So this one is by Hair Max. You can go to the website. It's a lot of fabulous videos on the website, but Hair Max, this is a laser. Laser just gives energy. energy is what your scalp needs to grow hair, among other things. So the laser helps to increase blood circulation, helps with blood flow, therefore helping with thinning hair. It is great for androgenetic hair loss. It's great for that hormonal hair loss. So this is something, the person who asked this question, you may want to consider this during this time. You can go to the website. It's great videos, but that's something that I think that you should consider. But no, that doesn't mean you are doomed. I'm not going to get on my soapbox about food, but I will say this: lifestyle. I feel like lifestyle plays a much greater part in hair loss than genes ever will. Okay, I said it. Lifestyle plays a major part in hair loss than genes. So focus on healthy lifestyle. That helps. It's just like lifestyle, lifestyle, lifestyle. What you eat, what you put in your body, whether or not you exercise, whether or not you drink your water, all of that affects your hair. So, okay, let me so I hope I answered that question. Okay. Oh no, I didn't. Oh, one other thing. I'm sorry you asked. Relaxed hair. Yes, if you are relaxed and if you're dealing with any type of hair loss, I absolutely think that you should stop relaxing your hair. So no, yes, I am all natural, but if you choose to wear a relaxer, it's fine. But when you are going through any type of hair loss issues, you want that hair follicle to be as healthy and strong as possible. A relaxer is a chemical that you're putting directly on the hair follicle. Over time, yes, it will affect the hair follicle. So no chemical on the scalp while if your hair is thinning. So I would absolutely stop putting a chemical on your hair. I would absolutely stop. What can you do about breakage? Um, what can you do about breakage? Oh, excuse me, not breakage, shrinkage. What can you do about shrinkage? So, Miss Evelyn, shrinkage is real. I wish I had, do I have, I might have something. So there are different things that you can do about shrinkage. I mean, shrinkage is normal. I mean, we all know that, but some of the things that you can do to elongate your hair, you can do a few things. You can, depending on how you're wearing your hair, if you're using so if you're doing curl definition, for example, the heavier the product you put in your hair, the more shrinkage you're going to get. So the heavier the product, the more shrinkage. So if you're using something like a mousse doesn't weigh the hair down as much as a gel. So if you want less shrinkage, you can use less product, particularly for curl definition. Of course, you can do things like 2-strand twists to elongate the hair. One of the things that you can do, depending on how much hair you have in the style, if you're doing curl definition, what I do is when I do my curl definition, I put the gel in my hair, I let it dry. Overnight, I wish I had something I can grab, but I don't have it, so I'll show it to you. After the hair dries, before I go to bed, I'll take a section of my hair. It's you know, I'll take a section of my hair and I'll do something called banding, where I will put a coated band and I'll have my hair in like 5 or 6 big ponytails. And what that's doing, it's stretching the hair at the root. So this is something you can do. If you want to stretch the hair, um, you can put bands on it after you do your curl definition. Before you go to bed, put your hair in like 5 or 6 big sections, not a rubber band, but you can do a coated band and band. I mean, I put it at the root. People actually do something called banding where they put bands along the entire hair shaft. You can do that as well, but not with, like, I see people do that and they don't have a lot of a product in their hair. So if you want to put product in your hair, like curl definition, for example, do your curl definition and then sit under the dryer. You get less shrinkage when you sit under the dryer, even though I don't sit under the dryer because I hate dryers. I don't care. But when you sit under the dryer, it kind of locks the hair in and it doesn't shrink as much. But after the hair is dry, you can put bands all over your hair, and just over time, it's going to stretch the hair. So you have a little more elongation. So that's how you do help with shrinkage. It's one other thing that I was going to say about shrinkage. Can't remember. Oh, another thing that you can do, you can take, depending on the style, you can take a blow dryer with a concentrator. So a concentrator is that thing you get in the blow dryer that kind of looks like a beak. Well, most of us just kind of throw away because we normally just use the comb. You can take a concentrator and put heat directly to the scalp, and that's going to stretch the hair too. Kind of like if you blow dry your hair out, if you blow dry it out, it's going to stretch the hair. If your hair is in curl definition or even a twist out and you want to stretch that root a little bit, you could take a blow dryer with a concentrator and just put heat right at the scalp, and it will elongate it some. Okay, so Miss Antoinette says, any idea why the growth drops would cause intense burning or itching on the scalp? Now, I don't know if you're referring to my growth drops or other growth drops, but in terms of itching or burning on the scalp, it all depends on what is in the product that you're using. So sometimes people are just allergic to products, allergic to ingredients. It doesn't matter whether or not it's all natural ingredients. That's one of the biggest misconceptions about natural or organic or natural based products, that they work, or you won't have any allergic effect to them, allergic reaction rather, because they're natural. You could very well be allergic to something that's in the drops, or in the product. Some products have uh, what's the word? Essential oils in them. Sometimes essential oils may be too strong for the scalp. If the scalp is inflamed and you're putting a lot of essential oils on the scalp, that could cause intense burning. So it depends on what the ingredient in the product is that you may be allergic to. And if you're allergic to it, then your scalp is going to tell you. And a lot of times you don't know what you are allergic to until you use the product. So the growth drops that I have do not have any essential oils in it. It's all plants, all plant-based, extracted in water, the ones that I have. So it just depends on what's going on with your scalp, what's in the product, and if you are allergic to something in the product. But I'm not sure if you're talking about my growth drops or growth drops in general. A lot of growth drops or growth serums are formulated with essential oils, and are formulated with oils in general. And a lot of times with those essential oils can be very potent, and can be very potent on the scalp. And some scalps are just sensitive to them. If Miss Antoinette, if it is my drops, you can shoot me a message and let me know, and we can talk about it. So, can you use KY jelly in your hair? Well, that's a good question. I've never used it in my hair. If I look at the ingredients, it is water and glycerin. Um, it is a little sticky. So I will say with KY jelly, it's the amount of KY jelly. KY jelly has a lot of glycerin in it. So in your hair products, yes, you want glycerin in your products, but probably not at the concentration that you have in KY jelly. It's a very high concentration in KY jelly. K glycerin is the ingredient that was also, if anybody has ever had a Jerry curl back in the day. No, I didn't have one. But if anybody had a Jerry curl back in the day, and people would put that Jerry curl juice in the hair, and the hair was like super, super juicy, like it's a lot of glycerin in it, and almost the hair was just greasy because the amount of glycerin. So I don't know, Jolanda, if I would recommend it for the hair because of the amount of KY jelly. It just may be too gooey. It's a lot of glycerin in the KY jelly. I think it's going to be too gooey. Now, what you can do, if you want to experiment, you can take the KY jelly and probably dilute it a little bit more with water. Or you can just skip the KY jelly, because I'm sure there are other chemicals in the KY jelly. You may just want to take water and glycerin and mix it in a water bottle and put that on your hair. Does the same thing. And you can kind of determine how much KY jelly you want in the hair. Okay. Ooh, child, we got some questions. Okay. All right. So let me see. Hi, Miss Edith. Um, Okay, are the recommendations the same for hair moisturizer and scalp moisturizer? Okay, that's a good idea. Hair moisturizer, hair moisturizer coats the hair. So moisturizing for the hair kind of coats the hair. It has ingredients for the hair. So no, generally speaking, I would not recommend that you put a thicker hair moisturizer directly on your scalp, because hair moisturizers tend to have different types of oils in them, which are fine for the hair, but may be comedogenic, which means pore clogging. So you don't want to necessarily put a hair moisturizer on your scalp, because you may run the risk of clogging the pores or clogging the hair follicle. So no, I would not recommend it in general. Now, that is exactly why I designed the very light Curl House leave-in conditioner moisturizer that can be used on the hair or the scalp. So what I experienced in my hair loss clinic, before I made my product line, I would treat the person's scalp, and then I needed to, and the person's hair, but I would put a moisturizer on the hair. The scalp was clean. I wanted to keep the scalp clean, free of product. The scalp was clean, but then it was so much, the moisturizers that I had for the hair, which were great for the hair, I didn't want that moisturizer to turn around and get on my clean scalp. It's just too heavy for the scalp. So I designed the Curl House Hair Nourishing Leave-In Conditioner specifically for that reason, because it is lightweight and it is good for both the hair and the scalp. But most conditioners, most thicker hair moisturizers, no. The growth drops that are somewhere, I don't know where they are, but the growth drops that I made are designed specifically for the scalp, and they don't have any oil in them. I don't know where they are, but anyway, they are designed specifically for the scalp. They don't have any oil in them. No oil at all, nothing that's going to clog the scalp. And not all oils clog the scalp, but they are designed, they are water-based. So they're water-based, which means they hydrate the scalp, which is very, very important for people who are dealing with thinning hair or dry scalp, that the scalp stays moisturized as opposed to oil. Okay, I got another question. I'm rolling, y'all. I'm rolling. Let's see. Swimmers, does anybody swim? Do we have any swimmers in the building? Do we have any swimmers in the building? Okay, well, I got a question online. The question is, hair care for swimmers. What happens when you use a silicone swim cap? And is it helpful or hindering, especially for those with gray? And any suggestions for those who swim regularly would be great. So in terms of swim caps, yes, silicone swim cap is great. Lycra and latex swim caps have been known to break the hair off. So silicone is great. I absolutely positively recommend that if you are going to swim, that you wear a swim cap. Now, if you don't wear a swim cap, and particularly if, some of us, we're going to the islands and we're trying to look fabulous at the island, we ain't trying to wear no swim cap. But if you don't, whether or not you wear one or don't, it is very important that you wet your hair first before going swimming. So I have an example for you all. Swim water is full of chlorine and salt and other chemicals, right? So can you all see this? I hope so. This represents chlorine water. No, I did not have any blue dye, so I had to improvise. This represents blue swim water, chlorine-filled water for my swimmers. If you are going to swim, make sure you wet your entire head first. So let me show you this. If this straw is your hair, if you just jump in the pool, this is what's going to happen. Can you see this? This is chlorine. This is an example. Your hair is going to fill up with chlorine water, chlorine and other chemicals. Your hair is going to fill up with this if you just jump in the pool. Now, it's important that you wet your hair first, like with tap water. Get it saturated wet with tap water, because tap water does the same thing. You can't see it, but your hair will fill up. You want your hair to fill up with tap water, not fill up with this. You don't want your hair to fill up with chlorine water. this is what's going to cause your hair to dry out and break off over time. So the first thing that's important for you to do is to wet your hair down. If you know you're going to the pool, take a shower, saturate your entire hair, because once the hair is completely full of water, so once this is completely, it has water in it. Once the hair strand is completely full of water, then no other water can get inside of the hair strand because it's full, which is why you don't want to just jump in the pool and wet your hair with pool water, because your hair is going to be full of chlorine. So I hope that example made sense for you. That one is for Sandra. So yes, absolutely wear a swim cap if that's the first recommendation. So, and a silicone swim cap is best because it's not going to pull your edges. Swim caps are not like the way they used to be. You can go online and find countless swim caps for people with natural hair, for full hair, different shapes, sizes, colors. So you can definitely find a fabulous swim cap if you want to look fabulous while you're in Jamaica on island with your swim cap on. And I know you mentioned something about gray hair. Gray hair meaning your hair is just drier as well. So you want to make sure you protect that. Even though with a swim cap, you're still not going to get with the swim cap, yes, your hair is still going to get wet, but it's not going to be saturated wet. You know, you minimize that onslaught of water when you just jump in the pool with no swim cap. So the first option is to protect your hair if you can with a swim cap. The second option is to saturate your hair with water. Get it as wet as possible. After you saturate it with water, you can put a little oil in it, because if you put a little bit of oil on your hair, that's going to keep some of that chlorine water away from your hair even more. So this is the example. This is your hair strand. This is your hair strand full of water, and you putting that extra layer of oil around it to keep it to minimize that onslaught of chlorine getting to your hair. After you wash, after you swim, wet your hair first, like get it saturated wet, and then use a clarifying shampoo to strip the hair of the chlorine, and always do a deep conditioner after that. So that is my recommendation for my swimmers. Angela, I'm so glad you made it. Hi, Edward. Thank you for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Tania, yes, protein treatments are a must. Yes, we talked a little bit about protein treatments. People forget about protein treatments. Yes, we focus on moisturizing treatments because generally speaking, we need moisture to our hair, but let's not forget protein. Let's not forget protein. There was a question about a steamer, about steaming. Let's see. I answered that question before, but I'll follow up. Let me see if there's another question about steaming. Okay, so in terms of steaming, I recommend steaming as opposed to steam. You can steam the hair. You can do a deep treatment with a steamer or with a dryer with a cap, a hooded dryer with a cap. So in general, I recommend that you, between the dryer and between the steam, steaming gives moist steam, moist air, which is what you want for your hair as opposed to dry. Again, they are sisters. So if they're sisters, then they're very similar. So if you don't have a steamer, you can use a a hooded dryer, rather, with a hooded dryer with a plastic cap, and do it about once a week or do it frequently, and you'll notice a difference in your hair. Number one, my hair was over processed and it's breaking off. Help. So over processed hair, I don't know if that's over processed from relaxer, over processed from a chemical, but if it's over processed and breaking off, then you can first try if it's over processed and break it off, first try a protein treatment, because again, the over processed hair means that cuticle layer is just really, really damaged. That outer layer is damaged. So you want to get more protein in that cuticle layer. And as I described early, the cuticle layer of your hair would be similar to shades. So with shade or blinds in my house, rather, when blinds are open, that means that's comparable to overprocessed hair, because that cuticle layer, which is which is the outer part of your hair, exposes the inner part, which is called the cortex. The cortex is where you get your strength, the strength of the hair. So if the hair is overprocessed, then that cuticle layer is exposed. So protein will help patch up some of those tears and rips in the cuticle layer. So a protein treatment may not be the only option. Depending on the severity of your overprocessed hair, you may have to do the unthinkable and cut it, or cut it gradually. But try protein treatments and try moisturizing treatments if the hair is overprocessed. And it really just depends on the hair. Okay. Hair loss issues. What do you recommend? Was diagnosed with CCCA. CCCA is an acronym for central, meaning starts in the middle, central, centrifugal, oh gosh, centrifugal alopecia, meaning it starts in the middle, it radiates out. Cicatricial means scarring. So it's a scarring form of alopecia, and it's inflammatory. So, Shani, the best thing you can do when you have CCCA, you have to start to reduce that inflammation. You got to reduce the inflammation. So it's an inflammatory type of hair loss. It's the type of hair loss that will destroy your hair follicle, and you have to get it at bay. So the first thing that I recommend is that you see a dermatologist. There are many things that you can do, but definitely see a dermatologist. A dermatologist is going to recommend some things that will help reduce the inflammation, because it's the inflammation in your scalp that is attacking your hair follicle, which is going to cause the deterioration of your hair follicle. So that's number one. And then number two is focus on the inflammation within your body as well. So with any type of hair loss disorder, I always recommend that you really, really focus on yourself, like trying to get your health, trying to get your body in tip top condition. Lifestyle. So that is my recommendation. There are many products that you can use. There are topical products that you can use that will help with CCCA, but you have to get the CCCA. You have to stabilize it. You have to keep it from spreading. So I'm not a doctor. Let me clarify. I'm not a doctor. So because I'm not a doctor, I'm not going to tell you what to do, which is why I recommend that you see your dermatologist to get some treatment to reduce that inflammation. After the inflammation or the tenderness is gone, there are different topical things that you can do. You can try the laser, for example, for CCCA. That's just getting energy to the hair scalp. There are products that you can use. I have a Curl House product line that I use for CCCA. You want to take oregano capsules. That's something else that I recommend. Great for inflammation. Eating inflammatory foods is also great for CCCA. So I'm just giving you general recommendations because everyone is different. But for your case, you can definitely send me an email to info@curlhouse.com. Info@curlhouse.com. I can give you more information. Okay. And you want to trim your own ends. Any pointers, tools, techniques, hair wet, stretched hair. So in terms of trimming your own ends, yes, as a hairstylist, of course, I'm going to tell you to go to the hair salon to get your ends trimmed, because I have tried it. It does not work. I have tried to trim my own hair. It's very difficult. But if you're going to do it yourself, what you can do, this is just a very general. I don't recommend that you do this all the time, but you can put your hair in chunky, not chunky, but medium-sized 2-strand twists. Twist your hair up, and then when you twist your hair up, you can see, if you twist from root to end, you can see where the hair starts to get thinner. So the top of your hair might be very thick, and then it gets towards the bottom and the hair gets thinner and thinner. That's the area that typically needs to be trimmed. So that's one of the things that you can do to trim your ends, to twist it up, then trim it. Now, if you're doing it yourself, now it's not something that I recommend you do all the time, because when you do it like that all the time, then your hair is going to be uneven. because when your hair is twisted, your hair is not even. So it's something, if you need to do a trim from time to time, you can twist up your entire hair and just trim the ends. In terms of doing your blowing out your hair, you can definitely get a blow dryer. You can get a blow dryer and blow dry your hair straight. You can see it more as well. Blow dry your hair straight. And what I used to do with clients, when I blow dry the hair straight, you can take the hair and pull it up. So if you're standing in the mirror, if you blow dry your hair straight, pull it straight up, you will be able to see the part of your hair that's the healthiest. And when that hair starts to disappear, like when you can start to see through that hair, what I call, if you can see through it, generally that's the part that needs to be trimmed. So blow your hair out, pull the hair up. You'll be able to see part of the hair is dark, and then towards the ends, it gets lighter and thinner. That's what needs to be trimmed. If you do it, take your time, section your hair off in very small sections. Don't do big chunks. It's going to take you some time, but pull it up, pull it out, and trim with some shears. To do the back, very difficult to do the back. It's possible, but you can get a to do the back, you can get a mirror and hold the mirror. It's very difficult to do the back. I'll be completely honest with you, which is why I said with the 2-strand twist, you can twist your hair up and grab the section. But if you have a mirror where you can look in the back of your head and trim at the same time, that's how you would do it on blow dried stretched hair. You can definitely see the ends much better when the hair is blow dried straight. You can see exactly what needs to be trimmed off. I don't know if I have a video. Did I post a video? Yeah, on my YouTube, I think I have a video on doing a trim, and I have a client where I blow dried her hair out, and you could clearly see what needs to be trimmed. So that is what I recommend. What gel do I recommend? I like Kinky Curly, and I like Uncle Funky's Daughter. Those are like two of my favorites. I also like some by Design Essential. So I do like Uncle Funky's Daughter, and I like Kinky Curly. Those are two of my favorites. When I want a really, really light hold, then this is cool too. The Coconut and Manoy Curl Defining Jelly. It's a light hold, but it's has a lot of glycerin in it as well. And some people don't like the feel of glycerin. But no, I have not heard of Innersense beauty products, but I am going to look it up. Not often, once a year for braids, and I leave them in for a month. Okay. Oh, okay, Lonnie. I think you're the one that sent me the question about the braids. Not once a year for braids. I think you're the one that sent me the question about the braids. I'm not sure about the protective style in the shedding. So when you leave your hair in a protective style for a significant amount of time, it's going to appear that you have a lot of shedding. But it's not a lot of shedding. It's just all of your hair, like literally all of the hair that already shed every single day just comes out all at the same time. So it appears like you have a lot of shedding. So Miss Antoinette, you said that you have your 5 month shed looks like once a week shed. So if you are shedding like that, it is that, generally speaking, that may be telogen effluvium. So that might actually be a hair loss disorder, telogen effluvium. So that's abnormal shedding. So on one hand, you have normal shedding, where your hair is shedding every day a normal amount. Your hair goes through growth cycles. It goes through cycles. So as it's going through a cycle, it's growing about 90% of the time, then it stops growing. And then it goes through a stage called telogen, the telogen phase, where in the telogen phase, it rests and then it falls out. That's normal. When there's a disruption to that cycle, a disruption can be from hormones, it can be from a surgery, it can be from stress. Stress is the number one cause for telogen effluvium. Then the hair sheds abnormally. So if that is the case, then you're dealing with telogen effluvium, and that is a different type of shedding. So your hair should not be shedding that much once a week. Let's talk about that. That's not normal. The telogen effluvium is temporary until it becomes permanent. So, or it may become permanent, but it is a temporary, it may become chronic. So it's a temporary type of hair loss. So you have to get it under control. And the best thing to get it under control, you have to identify what's causing your hair to shed in the first place. So if it is from if you had a surgery, for example, and or a lot of women who had a baby, their hair sheds after having a baby, the body recognizes that as a stressor on the body, and then the hair will normally come back. But it's if you have chronic, if you are stressed out all the time, like chronic stress, you can never manage it. Cortisol is the hormone that's associated with stress. So if you have high cortisol levels in your body, then that may be causing intelligent effluvium. And if that is causing intelligent effluvium, then we have to manage that stress to bring those cortisol levels down. So that if you are experiencing that much stress, then that much stress and that much shedding, then that is abnormal and that needs to be under control. Okay, what's a good gel to lay your edges down? You've been using ON natural edge control with black castor oil and vitamin E oil. Miss Debbie, I got so many edge control gels. I think ON, is that the one? It's one that, and so many people give me hair products, and I don't use a lot of edge control. I use a product called My Gel. It's not My Gel, but it's called My Gel. And I use that to lay my edges down. I'm actually making a gel. I'm working on it, y'all. I've been working on the natural hair product line for about 2 years. Eventually, it's gonna come. I use that, but the ON, there is an edge control by, I cannot remember the name of the company. But I know it was a popular video that said your edges will lay down for 2 or 3 days, but I cannot remember the name of it, Miss Debbie. I do have it upstairs, so I'll shoot you a message and tell you what the name of it is. And I think that particular edge control worked well, but I can't remember the name of it. I don't even know if it was ON Natural Edge Control, but I can send it to you because I can't remember the name of it, but I have it right in my room. Um, Lady, for severe breakage, you have to determine why your hair is breaking. So is your hair breaking because you're not moisturizing it? Is your hair breaking because you have color in it or it's bleach? Is your hair more breaking because you're not combing it properly, you're not detangling it properly? You have to figure out the source of the breakage. So typically high breakage is due to extreme combing and brushing and styling, or there's breakage because the hair is dry, meaning you have less moist, you have more dryness than moisture. So your hair is naturally dry, which is why you have to keep it hydrated. That's in general. Your hair could be breaking also due to deficiencies within your body. So in terms of, so in that case, you have to figure out, well, why is your hair breaking? What is causing your hair to break? Or what's in your body, that what's deficient in your body where your hair and your scalp is not getting the proper moisture to grow thick, healthy hair. So if you are dehydrated, for example, your hair could be breaking off because you're dehydrated. That has everything to do with water. If you are nutrient deficient and your hair is getting some nutrients, your scalp rather is getting some nutrients, but not enough to grow in thick, healthy hair, then that could be the reason your hair is breaking. Your hair is growing, but it's just not as strong and healthy as it could be. So that's a reason why your hair could be breaking. So you have to figure out the root cause of the breakage and then eliminate that root cause. So if you're combing it too much, you could be, if you're combing it incorrectly, if you're not using TLC with your hair, that could be the reason. So I don't know if you know the reason, but you have to find the reason your hair is breaking. But those three are the top three that I see with breakage: just not moisturizing, too much manipulation, and then your body being dehydrated, causing the hair to come in weak and fragile anyway, making the hair break more quickly. Okay. All right. Let's see. Woo, child. All right. I'm wrapping up in 15 minutes. I got a few more questions. Hold on. Let me make sure I think I got all the internet questions. Okay. Yeah, I did. Okay. Um, Okay, wanted to know how to maintain the moisture level and breakage. You answered the other question about menopause. I noticed that my hair has gotten more dry and breaking easily. Wanted to know how to maintain the moisture level. So I just answered that. I believe I just answered that because you know your hair. We know our hair, right? We know our hair best. We know our hair is dry, but then you might say, my hair is dry, but this ain't normal dry. Like when my hair went gray, oh my gosh, y'all, I was shocked myself. My hair was so dry. Like I couldn't even I've known about gray hair. I've dealt with gray hair, but when my hair went gray, it was like, OMG, this is not normal for me. So if you know that your hair is drier than normal, and if you are doing, like I've talked about moisturizer, I've talked about deep treatments, then you have to look internally. And we should all be looking internally because our hair grows, healthy hair grows from a healthy scalp. So if your body is not getting the nutrients that it needs, then your hair definitely ain't getting the nutrients it needs. That's why it's important to focus on a healthy lifestyle, not just the hair. If your body is not getting the water it needs to hydrate the body, and the hair is not getting anything, the scalp rather. So hair is considered a non-essential tissue. Hair is considered non-essential. So in other words, the body knows that you don't need hair to function. So whatever you eat, the nutrients from the food you eat, if there are nutrients from the food that you eat, depending on what you eat, processed foods has very little nutrients. But anyway, the nutrients from the food that you eat and the water you drink go to feed your vital organs first. Your heart, your liver, your brain, your lungs, your vital organs first. What's left over goes to the hair. If there is nothing left over, then your hair is not getting anything, which is why if something is going on within your body, it usually shows up in the hair. So if you feel like your hair has gotten more dry and is breaking more easily, then I question the quality of the hair that's coming out of your scalp. Look within, see if you're missing any nutrients. What can you do to improve the foods? Can you eat more fresh fruits, more raw foods? Are you drinking adequate water? You'll be amazed. Like I drink almost 100 ounces of water a day. At least I try to. And drinking that water, even though it's for the body, water helps to oxygenate the cells. So that's what your scalp needs for your hair to grow and for your hair to be healthy. So if you notice it's more dry and breaking off more easily, I question whether or not you are dehydrated. And you would be amazed at how many of us are walking around dehydrated. I was going to talk about that today. That was my topic for today, dehydration of the body and how it affects the hair. But I decided I would honor Miss Antoinette's request and just do a Ask Me Anything. But yes, I do question whether or not your body is dehydrated. So I encourage you to drink more water. Water, water, water. Try that and see how that affects your hair. What natural styles, excuse me, I'm sorry, what natural oils are most like sebum? Yes, you got it. Jojoba oil. Studies show that jojoba oil mimics the natural sebum that your scalp produces. So yes, jojoba oil is a very good choice. Absolutely. I like how you have your hair styled around. How did you style it? So what this is I guess it's an old wash and go. So I wash my hair about once a week. Sometimes I do stuff fancy. Sometimes I just wear my hair out. So I wash my hair. When my hair was wet, I put a lot of moisturizer in the hair, and then I put a gel over the moisturizer. So when you are using gels, it's to style your hair. It's still important that you moisturize your hair first. So you don't want to coat your hair with you don't want to coat your hair with what am I saying? You don't want to coat your hair with gel. You want the gel to lay over the moisturizer. So you can, I'm going back to my example here, even though this is oil, you have your hair strand, and then you put moisturizer on first, then put the gel on top. That way the gel is not laying directly onto the hair. So this is This is an old curl definition. When I first do it, it is super, super popping. I have a video on my website on curl definition that shows exactly how I do it. So this is curl definition as it gets old. It gets fuller in the shower. I just steam it and it just swells out. And this is what I call a slap back. Okay. This is the top of my hair. There we go. Just slap back. So yeah, this is old curl definition. Coated band. So it is a coated band. A coated band, I talked about that with the I talked about that when I talked about you can take your hair and band it. I'm going to do a video on that. You can take your hair and band it. So you can put I'm gonna say rubber band, but there are some, not a rubber band because you don't want your hair to come out. There are some bands that have cotton on them, but cotton, the cotton bands, they're like coated, so it's not a rubber band. It might have fabric around them. There are some bands that have like silk around them to keep the hair from snapping off. So you can use a rubber band that's coated with silk, or a rubber band that is coated with, I don't know the name of that coating, maybe silicone. Let me think, because I have so many. The ones that have fabric like cotton, because I have those too, they tend to pull your hair out. So just be mindful of that. So if you can find like a band that has like a satin or silk, or something that gives some slip around the rubber band. I can't think of the material, Miss Antoinette, but I can definitely let you know. But don't use like your typical rubber band. Don't do that. Let's see, what causes scalp inflammation? Many things cause scalp inflammation. Sometimes with CCCA, that is that type of scalp inflammation in general, that is caused from part of that. The history behind the CCCA had a lot to do with just the what we were doing to our hair back in the day. Back in the 50s, we used a hot comb, we put grease, and it kind of burned the scalp. And that caused inflammation. And so we have that. Inflammation can be from pulling the hair too much. Inflammation is within the body, and that affects your hair. Um, that affects the scalp. So it can come from a number of things. From color can cause inflammation of the scalp, but it's the inflammation of the cell, I mean, of the hair follicle too. And sometimes that can be due to the hair follicle being attacked. That can be, so it's many reasons for the scalp inflammation. But it's sometimes it's mechanical. So sometimes it's something that you're doing to the hair or something you're placing on the scalp, and other times it's internal. Karen, what can you do? I put my hair in 2-strand twists and it still shrinks visibly. What am I doing wrong? Well, if you're putting your hair in 2-strand twists wet, then it is going to shrink. It's natural for the hair to shrink. Whenever you're doing anything wet, of course, when you twist it, it's wet, and when you release it, it shrinks up. You can try flat twists, flat 2-strand twists. So you're twisting, you're stretching the hair out on the scalp. So as opposed to going straight back, I mean, excuse me, as opposed to doing all these loose 2-strand twists, and when you release it, it gravitates back to the scalp. You can twist the hair flat. I might have a video on how to do flat twists. I'm not sure, but look up flat twist. You can stretch it. You can twist it on the scalp or flat to the scalp. Still 2-strand twist, very similar to cornrows, but 2-strand twist it flat to the scalp, and it's going to stretch the hair as you twist it. You definitely get more elongation when you do flat twists as opposed to individual twists. The other thing that you could do, you can blow dry your hair out. So you can take some of the moisture out of your hair, blow dry your hair out, put a little bit of product, and twist it without as much water. So if you twist the hair when it is dry as opposed to wet, then you will definitely get less shrinkage. Okay. How can you reach out to me, Star? Info, INFO at curlhouse.com. INFO at curlhouse.com. Okay, let's see. So, Angelica, you cut 4 inches off wait, you cut 4 inches off after I tried to cut my own hair for myself. Yes, Angelica. Yes, I remember one of my clients, Angelica, just said she tried to cut her own hair. She tried to cut it herself for a year, and she came back to me, and her hair was horrible. So I had to cut 4 inches off. That is her trying to do it herself. So, that is just who asked me that, Miss Antoinette, trying to do it yourself. Now if you're going to try to do it yourself, just make sure you definitely try to take your time. Angelica does not recommend it. So you can take the oregano oil for CCCA as a capsule. And the when I said that, I was recommending the capsule. I was for that more internal approach as opposed to external. The oil, um I probably wouldn't recommend it on the scalp. I'm thinking about the consistency, the thickness of it, whether or not it's going to be too heavy for the scalp. So I'm referring to the capsule. Okay, find that video, Miss Antoinette. It is there. Hold on. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. So protein treatments. Let's see. Can you suggest protein treatments? I really enjoy the TGIN RX CPR protein treatment. It's effective and not as messy as other liquid formulation. So the protein treatments, there are different types of protein treatments, and it all depends on what type you're looking for. So most of the salons, when we do a protein treatment, we do more of the more concentrated protein treatment, like the liquid formulation. That's the most potent kind. The only kind that I can think of, what I call over the counter, or that you can go to the grocery store, not to the grocery store, you can go to Sally's and get, is the Apogee, Aphoge. That's a protein treatment that you can get from the beauty supply store. It's liquid, and you wash your hair, you put it in your hair, you put on a cap, you sit under the hooded dryer. Protein with that heat is going to make it hard. You rinse it out, and then you get a put in a moisturizing treatment after that. So that's the Apogee. That's a really strong one. If you really have weak hair and need a stronger protein, hair salons typically use something else. Or the TGIN, the CPR protein, that's a very good treatment as well. It's easier to use. It's one step, if I'm correct. It's a one-step process as opposed to a two-step process. But that one is good too. So the one that most people like, Angelica, is the Apogee, because it's it's very strong, but it's very effective. It's actually a very good one that you can do yourself. For a protein treatment at home. So, Teresa, am I seeing new clients in the hair salon? I'm not seeing new clients because I am a retired hairstylist, but the salons that I'm affiliated with are seeing new clients. The salons that I'm affiliated with are called Just Manes, JUSTMANES, Just Mane Salons in the DMV, Richmond, and Virginia area. So there are several salons we have. We're opening 15 now. I think about 7 or 8 are opened. The hair salon, the natural hair salon in Richmond, would be the one in Chesterfield and the one in Glen Allen. So you can definitely go to Just Manes, or if you send me an email, info@curlhouse.com, I can give you more information. And I think I'm kind of in the home stretch. And did you find that your hair became healthier once you went plant-based? You know what, Jolanda, that's what I'm waiting for now. I just went plant-based. It has been 1 month. So I'm very new to plant-based, but all of the things that have been restored or corrected in my body, like right now, I write them down. At least 20 things have been corrected, restored, or healed in my body since going plant-based. I'm waiting to figure out, okay, what is my hair going to do? So right now it's too early for me to tell, but I just, because of what I've experienced within my body and how healthy and how fabulous I feel now, I am pretty certain it's going to affect my hair. So this is the little home test that I'm doing on myself to see how it's going to affect my hair. But it's only been 1 month. So I can't tell you yet, but I promise you, I like to give it about 3 months to see changes within my hair. So in a few months, I'll be able to answer that question with integrity. Um, Water, I like smart water. Somebody else had a suggestion about a water yesterday. I mean, like, we talked about water, I think, last week. I can't remember. I don't like tap water. But I like smart water, and I like Fiji water. Those are my favorites. But I encourage people, look, if you got to drink tap water, drink tap water. If you got to drink filtered water from your refrigerator. Just drink water. Like, just drink water. Get in the habit of drinking more water. That is what I'm going to talk about in 2 weeks, because guess what, y'all? I am going on vacation. Woo! I have not went on a vacation in excuse me, 2 years since COVID. So next week I am off because I am going on vacation. How you like them apples? So I will not see you next week, but I'll see you the following week, 2 weeks from today. And I'll be talking about water. That was the topic that I had recommended. So I am, Jelana, I will look up more water suggestions. I know there's a way that you can test water. My husband does it. He said test the pH. I haven't done any of that. So maybe I'll try that and bring that for you in 2 weeks. Okay. So I think I'm kind of down. You are going plant-based. Fantastic. It's just been life-changing. It really has been uh life-changing. Eternal water, alkaline water is great. Alkaline water is what Teresa recommended. Alkaline water, your cells thrive in alkaline. So alkaline water, that's her recommendation. I think that was recommended yesterday. You are very welcome, Miss Antoinette. I appreciate you making this suggestion. This is actually great. Yes, there will be a part 2. We'll do this again. Of course, I was supposed to go for an hour, but it's been an hour and a half. Y'all know I like to talk. I think this is the last question. Overprocessed from core application. So SSC, your hair is overprocessed from COR application. I don't know what that is. Is that color application? If it is color application, then depending on the level of it being over processed. So if it's from color application, then you have to get in there and do those protein treatments to try to restore the hair. But in general, if the integrity of the hair strand if it's no longer viable, then it's nothing you can do to restore it but to cut it. So, for example, people who are transitioning to natural from relaxed hair, some people don't know that you have to cut your relaxed hair, that the relaxed hair is not going to turn natural. And some people really don't know this, which is why I'm sharing this. So if some people, so for you, if your hair is over processed due to color application, if it's damaged beyond repair, so to speak, then you may need to cut it. Ooh, I'm sorry. You may not be ready to cut it all off, but you can cut it off and you can cut it gradually. So kind of like people who flat iron their hair a lot. I see a lot of heat damage when people have that flat iron up way too high, and they pretty much burn the hair. Their hair gets bubbles in it, and it just destroys the hair strand. Depending on the extent of that heat damage, once it's heat damage, you may not be able to repair it, and you may have to just cut it. But anyway, okay, so I hope that helped. I think I answered everyone's question, y'all. I really think I did. If I missed something, I can certainly go back and review the questions, or you can shoot me an email to info@curlhouse.com. I thank you for everyone tuning in. I thank you for your questions. I thank you for allowing me to show all of my crazy things that I do behind the scenes when it comes to when it comes to hair. So I thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am looking forward to being in paradise next week around this time. I love y'all, but I will not see y'all next week. I will see you in 2 weeks. And if you all have any questions at all, my email is info@curlhouse.com. If you have any topics, that's the word, send me a message to send me my email, and I will put it in the lineup. Okay, y'all have a good evening, and until we talk again, stay fabulous.